Domestic US bouncing back really strongly, particularly the leisure side of things. But the big question now remains, when do we get back to international? We've got a really uneven vaccine rollout story globally. What are you looking for?
Well, thanks for having me. And you're absolutely right. I was very pleased, and I talked about it in our call, what's happening in the U.S. Domestic has been very strong, and we're very pleased with what's happening there. But as you point out, it's very important that it's not just the U.S. domestic. It's very important that there's international travel, and that can only really pick up when all the vaccines are rolled out throughout the world so that people feel safe throughout the world and governments feel it's safe to let people enter their country. That's the big point that we need to get through. We need to get those vaccines, not only in the U.S., not only the U.K. and Israel, but we need it throughout Europe, Asia, South America, throughout the world.
Hey, Glenn, you know, Europe is your biggest market, right? So I'm curious as to how you see the summer vacation season evolving. What kind of competition are you noticing between countries? Because, like, Guy's not going to go to Greece, Spain, and Italy this summer. He just may pick one.
Yeah, and if he wants to go to Greece right now is opening up sooner, and Italy is also talking about opening up sooner. So it really, I believe that what people should do is decide where you want to go late in the summer, book it on something like a booking.com where you have free cancellation. So you're set up, and if things do open up, you have a place that you've already booked. My concern always is that people wait until the last minute when things open up, and then they decide to book. But of course, for many people, that'll be a late time to do it, and of course, prices will probably be higher.
Take that optionality. A lot of people are going for alternative accommodation. They're not going for the hotel booking. Is that something you're seeing as well? Is that a permanent shift, do you think?
Well, interesting. Certainly, we've seen a step functional change in the interest in the alternative accommodations. I will point out that we sell a lot more hotels than alternative accommodations, but people are definitely more interested in it. And certainly it was because of the pandemic. People felt they wanted to be safe, so they wanted to stay in perhaps a single home instead of a big hotel. Whether or not that will continue going forward, I'm not sure. There may be a little bit of a drop back, but certainly it's made people more interested in the product. So I think going forward, people will always have it in their consideration set.
Hey, Glenn, a lot of the vacations, at least domestically, that we've seen have been driving, whether you're getting an RV or you're in cars. And something that Guy and I have talked a lot about is the chip shortage and then how that winds up affecting the auto sector. Hertz, for example, is going to have to go buy used cars because they just don't have enough cars to meet the demand. Do you think that at some point that's going to kind of put a little crimp in that part of the travel world?
And there's no doubt that the rates for a car rental are much higher than anybody would have expected, I think. And there's no doubt a shortage in many parts of the U.S. That being said, I don't think we ought to say, well, I'm not going to go on a holiday or I'm not going to go on vacation because I can't get a car. They'll use other methods or figure another way to do it. I do think, though, that over time, and I've listened to some of the CEOs talk about it, over time, they will be able to build back those fleets and we'll get back to a more normal supply-demand relationship. Airbnb
is, and I hate to use that word in this interview, but it is becoming almost like a verb. And I'm wondering how you compete against that. I just had a conversation with somebody in this building. They're talking about what they're doing this weekend. They're going to Snowdonia. They're going to Airbnb. I'm not even sure they're going to use Airbnb, but that has become emblematic of the way that bookings are taking place. Glenn, how do you compete with that? How do you make sure that your names are out there just as strongly?
Well, I think it really depends a little bit on region. And certainly in the States, for example, if you walk down the street and say, I need to rent a home, well, where can I go? They may mention Airbnb or some other people, and they won't mention us. If you went to Europe and you're walking around there and you said, I need to get a villa on the south of France, I'm fairly certain that Booking.com will come up very high. The issue really comes, though, we need to get the awareness of Booking.com in the States for not only hotels, but also these alternative accommodations at a higher level. And I've talked about this on our calls, the need to get that awareness up.